And I'm your co-host Asnan Zaidi.
And how are you doing this evening? We are coming off one hell of a weekend, let me tell you, folks. If any of you noticed, we did not put out a show on Friday. I had no power from when the storm hit till Sunday. I don't even remember when the power came back on. It was probably 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when it finally came on, and that's the longest I've ever been without power. Um, just it kind of hit me out of nowhere. I mean, normally hurricanes where I live in Florida, because I live in the middle of Florida, so I'm an hour and a half to the west to go to the Gulf of Mexico, or an hour drive to the east to go to the Atlantic Ocean. I don't get hit by hurricanes in here, not by the cores anyway. And we got hit Friday night so bad I got I'm red-blooded American like everybody most people that listen. So I don't have a fancy carport. I get my carports 10 by 20s at Harbor Freight. We got two vehicles, so we line them all up together and tie them together with some wire. And I one of them got destroyed. Um, half Man, there was probably 500 pounds of little tree branches that got knocked out of our trees. um, Mom took like 3 wheelbarrows load of trees picked up off the ground out back and burned them. uh, Water everywhere. I don't think I've ever had that much water. um, it filled the back of our truck. One of the trucks was like a foot deep of water in it. It was standing water all the way from the front to the tailgate, because normally it would just leak out the back of the tailgate. Well, our truck sat from Friday till Sunday. We didn't go anywhere. Um, we didn't have any power or anything, and I went Saturday. I went and got some ice to put in the fridge and freezer to try to save what food we could. Um, Lost about $500 worth of food, not having. We weren't prepared for this one. I mean, just got rid of my generator, which I've had for 5 years and never needed it. When stuff lays around, you get rid of it. Um, I knew where one flashlight was out of like all my stuff. If it wasn't for my Ryobi tools, and now that Ryobi uses LED lights on there, now you put 18-volt battery on there, and you're talking 6, 7 hours or longer that'll run on one battery. Well, fortunately, I got 14 batteries because all my tools are Ryobi. Not all of them were charged. I, I will do a better job of keeping them charged now, because I was down to my last battery when the electric came on. I was going to have to load up all my batteries and my chargers, run them over to a buddy's house to charge them up, because all my local friends were powerless like I was, and we're all too cheap. I'm not paying 30 grand to have a generator in there to use it once every 10 years. I just don't see how people can justify spending that kind of money to eliminate a couple days of, you know, uncomfortable. I was a little uncomfortable because we didn't have the house AC, and none of the ACs or fans were working, so it got hotter than you would want it to be. I mean, it mainly sucked at night because in Florida it don't really cool down at night. But so that caused a big mess. So we didn't get the app show out when we promised. We're going to do the app show right after we do the show right now. So we'll wait about 5 minutes. You can go refill your popcorn bowl, get your drink, go to the bathroom, whatever you got to do. And then we'll do the app show. And we've been working on that all day, getting that all set up and stuff. let's get to the anime. Um, the anime is Takuketsu. Tasuketsu. Tasuketsu? I'll figure my Japanese language. I don't know. It's right above me. Just read it right there. It's Tasuketsu. That's how it sounds. Okay, Fate of the Majority. Woohoo! We've got one of those animes. All right. It came out. It premiered summer of 2024. It was done by Satellite Studios. It was sourced from a web manga. Genre is action, drama, suspense, and its theme is high stakes game, psychological. It's PG-13. Its almighty score is 4.76. Now, we don't look at the scoring and all the stuff before we decide on what anime we're going to review. We look at, there's a lot of factors that go into it, and one of these days we'll do a show on how we determine that, but when I look at these scores, I am not impressed. It's ranked 13,082, and its popularity is 5,115. And it's got, where was it at? 18,900 members. So that is like the lowest count I have seen in an anime in years. And if you watch the anime already, then you know why I'm saying that. If you haven't, I might recommend checking some other ones off your list before you go to this one. As long as you watch 1 through 4 and 11 and 12, you pretty much got it. Because they really stretch out the ending. They could have done that ending in one episode, but they really stretched it out because some dumbass forgot to bring his... What kid is going to leave his phone? That one thing right there just irks the crap out of me about this anime. No kid in this day and age is gonna, even with their lack of responsibility, that's a kid's lifeline. Especially mid-teens, because these are all 13 to 20-year-olds basically. At least that's how they portray it. And I thought this was going to be pretty good, but I didn't understand. You're killing off half the people, but they're not showing, and you don't know where all the bodies went. They don't. How do I want to? Let's get Hassan. What's your opinion of this? I mean, I don't
Okay,
even
so
know where to
I know
start.
the first episode was good. I thought like it has a good story. Like the concept, I liked it. Like it was a normal world, and that started that. But as we continue, like I have too many questions. Like I don't understand it. Like what's happened or like what's happening. Like they show like in the I think on the 10th episode, like when they are going out of the city and after a month they are coming back with a food and fresh vegetables and like they are not showing anything. They are doing some things fast forward and they are just stretching some things. Like there's no explanation. Like I'm confused. Like how the story works. Like
Did you understand what the plot was?
no. Like I don't even get the powers. Like how they are getting and like how. So I think it's good like if we leave it that way. Like we don't understand it. So
The graphics were okay. The I would say the director did a good job with what he had to work with. The story just was not consistent, was not there. They did no explanation of backstory. You got no backstory. Characters popped out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they're in on it, but where'd they come from? It just it was kind of all over the place, and up to four, you would think this would be at least a decent, maybe lacking some explanation, but an okay anime. It they found the cliff because they drove right off the cliff after episode 4, and they didn't find the bottom till episode 11. And it took 2 episodes, like I was saying, we were talking right before we went on air, and they they could have just shoved everything in one episode in the last. They were like stretching out things that they were I didn't get, and it and then the villain in the end, was he human? Was he not human? Was he? I don't know what he was. So as far as what we at Anime Analyst have to say is you can skip this one and find yourself the next one on your list. Um, I'll go back and watch it again. Maybe I just weren't catching some stuff, but I mean, when these animes are made, there is a lot of money into even making a bad one. It takes a lot of money to make an anime, and good or bad, you can't see that. And then Crunchyroll, which is Sony, puts a lot of money into putting it on its website, and then it's not a lot of people watch it. It's not that good of an anime. It's definitely not going to pay the bills. Um, and then that hurts the good professionals that worked on the anime because the story wasn't there and it wasn't complete. And that's the dangers of when you make an anime off a web manga, because if there's no story that stuff was based on, then you're filling stuff in. If the writer doesn't allow the director to fill stuff in on his own, which it happens, you end up with this is the result. And we don't know what went into making it. It looks like maybe there was a conflict of interest behind the scenes, and that's why this stuff didn't get added in, or wasn't, nobody caught it in research after when you do your checks on everything, but who knows. Anyway, from us, it's a go ahead and skip it, you won't miss it.
Right.
Now, we have our show's coming up. The next show, we're going to do it right now in 5 minutes from now. So that would be 7:13 right now. So we'll start the next show at 19:20. So we'll start in 7 minutes. We're going to do our app show from Friday. Definitely stick around, fill up your drink glass, get some more popcorn. We got a great show coming up for you next. This is Anime Analyst. I'm your host, Thomas Fry.
And I'm your co-host, Hasnan Zaidi.
And we will see you back here for the next show here in a few minutes. So